For the site is does not affect adjacent properties. The remonstrator would argue for the reasons stated under 3A above that in fact granting the variance would affect the adjacent property in an adverse manner. The remonstrator recognizes the C1 zoning district classification allows for a gas station that increases traffic congestion created by higher traffic flow from a gas station as opposed to general office use, for which is the predominant use in the property adjacent to the subject property. 6, the granting of such variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property improvements in such vicinity and district in which the property is located, because the applicant proposes it will make the entry into and exiting from the property safer. The remonstrator would argue for the reasons stated above, 3A above, that the granting of the variance will have a detrimental effect on the neighboring general office properties adjacent to the subject property, as well as along the Willow Creek corridor. The property owners in the nearby properties will experience turnover in tenants, potentially impact lease rates and or reduce revenue for the tenants of properties where clients may choose other options with less traffic congestion. 7, the granting of such variance will not alter the land use characteristics of the vicinity and district, diminish the marketable value of adjacent land improvements, or improve the congestion in the public streets, because the applicant proposes the additional driveway's width will help to alleviate congestion, as the additional width will allow delivery trucks to enter and exit the site without interfering with the flow of traffic on the two roadways. The remonstrator would argue that petroleum transport trucks entering and exiting Willow Creek Road without the benefit of an accel or deceleration lane does not contribute to the characteristics of the Willow Creek corridor or the neighboring properties and creates a public safety issue. The remonstrator would argue that the only ingress and egress to the property should be limited to the collector street of Robbins Road, where the access would be through a traffic controlled intersection. The applicant has admitted in the finding of fact that the variance request is not a result of unique characteristic of the property, depriving the applicant of normal use of the property. And for this reason, in addition to the remonstrator's other proposed changes to the findings of fact, the remonstrator would argue that the applicant has not met their burden and therefore should not be granted the developmental variance. Sincerely, David Phelps.
Thank you. Is there anybody else to speak against the petitioner? If not, I will close the public meeting and open to questions from the commission.
This is Stephen Summers. I have a few questions. I know that Mr. Knutson had requested an auto turn for this project. Has that been produced and sent to Mr. Knutson yet?
Unfortunately, the site engineer for the project was telling me that he did not have the software for that. But it could be, we can manually draft it at this point. But the request came in on Friday, and the site engineer was out of the office on Friday, and he did respond with Mr. Knutson today as far as on making sure that he got as much information as he could to him.
All right. In regards to the auto turn, then, if it has not been produced yet, I would like to see for this auto turn, basically a general idea of where the trucks will be coming in, the size of the trucks they are, whatever WB class that they are, for turning in off of Willow Creek and then back onto Robbins, kind of like a general traffic pattern, how you guys would think that the fueling trucks would come in and out of the business. I don't know if you guys have, I noticed the underground fuel storage location is in the southwest corner. Where are the filling stalls going to be at, or the filler, essentially where the fillers are going to be at for the underground storage tanks?
They, what we're thinking they're going to be located is at the back of the property.
Okay.
To the far west side.
Okay. So then, go ahead.
What I was going to state was our variance isn't for whether or not to have a driveway at all.
Correct.
We're permitted to have a driveway.
Correct. I understand. And no, I completely understand what the petition is for. I was just checking on the auto turn to make sure that the driveway entrance was going to function properly coming in and off of Willow Creek Road. That's the main concern I have with that. Northbound going in is not really, that's not a major issue, northbound to westbound. It's more the eastbound to southbound movement. How much of a swing are you going to have? I assume you're going to come out into the middle travel lane, but I don't know if you're going to hit the center left turn lane to conflict with left turn moving cars.
As with any other vehicle, they would have to use the center turn lane if they were going to turn into the lot via the Willow Creek entrance.
Correct.
The general pattern, as far as for the truck drivers, generally, if they're coming from the south, what we have is a situation where the lot depth north to south is small enough to where we have problems in doing a loop around the building with a semi.
Right.
And it would be delivered with a full-size semi and tanker. And so we're needing to have that second entrance. We're thinking that most of the trucks would probably come in. If they're coming from the south, they could enter into the trucks could come in either direction.
Correct.
And it's just the matter of whether we put in just the standard driveway width, or if we are allowed to make it wider in order to accommodate those vehicles coming in and out.
Right.
The engineer has gone through, McMahon has done numerous other service stations or gas stations in the area, and he assures me that this is the size that these are the sizes that they put forth on those other gas stations.
Okay. I think there's a little misunderstanding. I'm not worried about the north to westbound movement. I'm worried about the eastbound exiting to southbound Willow Creek. All the other things function properly. I'm just worried about the eastbound to southbound movement with this driveway. Where is the cab of the truck going to perform their swing for the trailer coming out? So are they going to swing all the way into the dual left center turn lanes? Or are they going to swing into the second, I assume the second southbound turn lane or southbound travel lane, excuse me?
My assumption would be that they would first off go into the center lane. I can't speak for all truck drivers, but I used to actually drive one with my dad a long time ago. And coming out there, you have that lane in the center that you normally would use in order to make sure you can enter into the traffic flow properly. Either way, the truck drivers should follow normal traffic laws as far as on merging into traffic.
The only thing I would request then is the WB movement out of the movement out of the 44-foot entrance and exit onto Willow Creek Road. What will the WB 40 or whatever WB class of truck will be on the auto turn coming in and out of that entrance?
We would do it for a normal semi.
Yeah, no 48 or 53 footer, whichever one.
Mm-hmm. Again, they haven't chosen exactly which gas supplier that they're going to be with at this point. So I don't know what those delivery sizes what they are at this point.
Yeah, I would just have them use a standard like 48-foot trailer, because I assume you're going to get other deliveries besides a gas delivery. You're probably going to get delivery for goods that go into the convenience store.
That would be correct.
So, use your assumption, 48 footer or 53 footer, whatever a standard delivery truck would be out of this area, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
That would be what I would recommend, but get back with your client and see if they agree upon that.
I do not foresee them having any problem with that.
All right. I don't have any additional questions at this point. Thank you.
Any other questions? Frank, do you have a question?
No
Jim Muller?
questions.
Jim?
No questions.
Tom?
No questions.
I have a question. Kurt, did we do a traffic study on this? Or AJ?
We have not done a traffic study at this point.
Could we request one?
We would typically request a traffic study during site plan review.
Okay, because I'm really concerned about a 48-foot truck trying to get into that center lane with the amount of traffic that we have coming through.
Yeah.
And they do not have any acceleration area to get up to speed. It just really worries me. So if we have no other questions, would somebody make a motion?
This is Stephen. I'm going to make a motion for a continuance. I would like the client to please provide the auto turn movements for the proposed variance of the 44-foot wide entrance onto and off of Willow Creek. As discussed, they may discuss with their client, of course, what type of vehicles are going to be coming in and out of there for the next meeting.
We have a motion for a continuance.
Jimmy Weller, I will second that.
We have a second. Mr. Monroe, could you call roll?
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Frank Farkas,
Yes.
Stephen Summers,
Yes.
Jim Weller,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes.
So if you could please just one more time, so I make sure I have it down right. You're wanting a turning analysis for a semi with a 44-foot trailer.
That's for the 44-foot wide driveway.
44.
Get with your client to find out what type of truck they're going to have coming in and out of the entrance.
Okay. We will put that together and get it right back to you.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe, could you call our third order of business?
V0222, Portage Ash Property Group LLC, care of Todd Leith of Hepner, Wagger, and Evans LLP, 103 East Lincoln Way, Valparaiso, Indiana, requesting a variance from Chapter 90, Section 3.38, maximum lot coverage, and Section 6.30 driveway standards. Drive-through standards. B, drive-through aisle specifications. 6A, 12-foot bypass lane is required. Address at 5839 US Highway 6.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hey, thank you very much. Hopefully, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Great. It's very difficult to explain. And so the screen share is going to help me very much in my description of our concerns and why we're here for a variance. David Mangerton is on the line as well with me. David is the design professional for the project with KMA Architects. As was indicated, this is a property on Highway 6. I always refer to it as the shopping center where Aldi is located. It's probably the most well-known of the businesses there. Aldi went in right around 2000. There was a subdivision plat that was recorded, and this property is within that plat of subdivision, was recorded in 1999. Aldi is lot number 1, and it has 277 feet of frontage on Highway 6. The property in question is the next parcel over, if you will, or to the east of Aldi. And it has a little over 600 feet of frontage on Highway 6. That lot number 2, is or was in 1999 just over 6 acres in size. At that time, or shortly after that, 3 buildings were built, and that's what you see there on lot number 2 today, with the multiple use, multiple tenants in those 3 separate buildings, if you will, an inline shopping center on lot number 2. All of that was done in 2005. some number of years ago. At that time, the property or the building that we're proposing now was on that site plan in 2005. So you can see the orange building E is in Edward, 4,715 square feet in size. It's fluctuated within 100 square feet in over the years. And so the current proposal is this orientation. But as I indicated, we originally thought, or at least I originally thought, that this was somewhat of a new concept, if you will, but it dates all the way back to the original site plan, and of course was never built or constructed. In 2018, we came to you, the Board of Zoning Appeals, and received 2 variances for a building here, this same building E, in a very similar orientation. We received a side yard setback so that it could be as little as 8 feet from the property line. And we also received a variance to allow for an increase in the lot coverage. This is zone C2 under the zoning map, and the maximum lot coverage is 70%. And we wanted to have 71%. The board, granted those 2 variances 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, in fact. That prospective tenant that we had back 4 years ago never came to us, never signed the lease, so we never built the building. So we have a new tenant and a new, slightly different site plan. So we're amending the site plan, and we need a couple more variances for this new orientation of this building. We have this current petition before you, and we also have an amendment to the site plan that is headed to the Plan Commission on February 7th. The variances that we need here are 2. One, we have a little bit more lot coverage. So we're asking for, if you will, 4% more of lot coverage than we had in 2018, 4 years ago. I think I want to call to your attention, if I can zoom in perhaps on that and show you that just to the east of this building and just to the east of the parcel is this NDOT drainage parcel. That's 30 feet wide. And in 1999, that was part of our parcel. That was part of lot number 2. And if we still had that, we wouldn't need an additional variance. In other words, our lot size would be 70.7%. And the 1% variance that we got 4 years ago would cover that. We don't have that parcel because the state of Indiana came along in 2006 and condemned that 30 feet, which is the eastern 30 feet of lot number 2. So they took 30 feet from our parcel. Of course, that's green space. And we think that that ought to account for something at least. Legally, I don't have any dispute that it doesn't count towards our lot, because our lot now is not 6 acres like it was in 1999. It's 5.75 acres in size or thereabouts. So we need the extra variance because the state came along and took away some of our green space that we had when we did the site plan, this site plan with this building essentially in 2007. A year later, they took that 30 feet. So the first variance is to increase our lot coverage, that additional 4%. The second variance has to do with the user, our prospective tenant, which is a restaurant. And they want to have a pickup drive-through on that east side. And you can see the car movements here along the east side from south to north along that eastern wall of the building. Your ordinance requires that if we have a drive-through, any kind of drive-through, there are 6 specific things that we need to provide. We provide 5 out of the 6, but the one thing that we don't have is room for a bypass lane. Frankly, largely again, because we don't have that extra room because the state took that 30 feet. But also we don't need that bypass lane, in our opinion, because this isn't a true drive-through like you would normally see at a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's or another fast food restaurant. This is really a pickup window. The orders would all be made online or on the web page for the restaurant and prepaid. And so the customers are merely coming to the window to pick up their order. There is no microphone, there is no menu board. It's simply a pickup window. And so we don't think that there would be more than 1 or 2 cars at any particular time in the drive-through. If a car comes to the window and their order is not ready and there is a car behind them, we would simply ask them to pull forward and we would bring the food out to them through the front door and keep the lane clear. So we really don't have nearly the stacking, if you will, of traffic that you might have at, say, a larger, more full service drive-through where you have a menu with waiting and so forth, and waiting for the food to be prepared, packaged, and delivered. It should all be ready when the customer arrives. So we don't think that there's a particular need to have the drive-through under these circumstances. And with the fact that we're trying to stay over to that east side to continue the visibility for the existing inline stores, we don't want to move that building out 12 more feet to provide for that bypass lane. So those are the 2 variances that are required for this particular site plan, with the slight changes that we've encountered since we redid the site plan from 4 years ago. I'm happy to answer any questions that you or the public might have.
Okay, so the one question I have, could you spell the name of who is online with you? You said a David.
David Mangurten.
How do you spell that?
Let's see, MANGURTEN. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Sure.
I will now open the public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? If not, I'll close the hearing and open to questions from the board. Scott, I'm going to ask, or Todd, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you to take this down so that we can see the people that are speaking. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I have no questions.
No questions here.
I have no questions.
Tom?
No questions.
Okay. And I have no questions. Is anybody ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Was that second Stephen Summers? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Monroe, could you call roll?
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Frank Farkas,
Yes.
Stephen Summers,
Yes.
Jim Weller,
Yes.
Denise Little,
Yes. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you very much for your time and consideration tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we're going to go back and take care of the election of the chairman and the vice chair. May I have a motion for a chairman?
I'll make a motion to elect Denise Little as our chair.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Mr. Monroe, if you could call roll.
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Frank Farkas,
Yes.
Stephen Summers,
Yes.
Jim Weller,
Yes.
Denise Little.
I'll abstain. May I have a nomination for a vice chairman?
I'll nominate Stephen Summers as the vice chair.
We have a nomination of Stephen Summers. May we have a second?
I will second that.
Mr. Monroe, if you could call roll.
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Frank Farkas,
Yes.
Stephen Summers,
I'll abstain.
Jim Weller,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes. We also have appointment of the executive secretary and legal counsel. I think we could do those together. May I have a nomination?
I will nominate Scott McClure as counsel and AJ Monroe as executive secretary.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And if we could call roll.
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Frank Farkas,
Yes.
Stephen Summers,
Yes.
Jim Weller,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes. Any old business? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
So moved. We'll see you next month, hopefully.